Paul, a question for you, and then I'd like to ask Tony to comment on a question I'd like to ask Tony to respond to. Paula, you talked about, and Samantha, you talked about the 6 partner agencies when you call 211. Why don't you tell, is there a fee when they come and see you? Those are some things. Explain that process. Call 211 to get hooked up. We know about the credit counseling and the work that you do, but in order to receive those funds, you have to require them to do something. So could you talk about that? And then Tony, it might be helpful for our colleagues here in this room to understand better the 294 foreclosure process, because any elected official or local development corporation that has a home that's condemned in their community can utilize this resource. So let's start with that.
Sure. When your homeowner calls 211, they're going to be given the names of a few of the housing counseling agencies, and they're going to get a hold of one of us, come in and meet with the counselor. Okay. All of these services are free. There is no cost to anybody's services. Okay. And if once they meet with the counselor determines that, they're back on track. They had a temporary hardship, a temporary setback, but with a little help, they can get back on track and move forward with their lives. So there are qualifications for these loans. The county's program is a 0% deferred loan. They're all 0% deferred loans. These are not grants, the Rescue Funds Assistance. And they're all 0% deferred secured loans. So that's probably something you might, if you want to tell your folks that there's no free money out there. But, the idea of a lien against the house will help us monitor in the future so that if somebody is going to refinance or pay that loan off, we have a way to insert ourselves in that process so they don't make that same mistake again. That is the purpose behind the secured mortgage on these 0% deferred rescue fund loans. And so the state has its own requirements, the county has its own requirements. I don't know if we need to get into those details, but the basic thing is that it's 0% deferred, up to $3,000 one program, actually up to $5,000. If someone's mortgage payment is over $1,000, we can actually go up to $5,000 on those loans. So that's plenty of money usually. And then we use it in combination, the state money and the county money. That's $6,000 that someone could potentially bring to the table to get their work out. So it's a great partnership between the state and the county to bring these resources to homeowners. So start there.
Tony, you want to comment?
Yeah, well, excuse me. A couple things on both the presentations. One is what I've seen recently from both organizations is the really shifting of, Jim McCracken talked a little bit about the clients that they're seeing now. And they're seeing significantly more suburban clients than they were when they first came up. And would have ever thought ESOP would be seeing suburban clients, but they are, and likewise for NHS. So they are seeing that clients come from outside the neighborhoods. And I think one of the actual better pieces that was done in the media, I think it was the BBC that did a half-hour documentary called The American Nightmare. The BBC came over and Sam was featured there working with a client from the suburbs who needed to get help. And up until ESOP started banging on the doors, did this client not get any help from the mortgage company. And the biggest shift, I think, goes to client education that Paul talked about when we were first getting loans, when we were all growing up and getting our first mortgage, we were dealing with commercial lenders and local lenders. We walked in, we knew who they were, and we signed paperwork and we trusted them. And the mortgage industry has really sprouted this, tremendous opportunity for fraud and predatory lending, which is the reason why I think Sam's right in ESOP is we need people to knock on doors because people have been suckered by mortgage companies. And the hard part is we can't, as much as we want to call and say they want to get this loan fixed and corrected, I can walk in the front door of Third Federal and we can sit down and they can back end the mortgage and get it all worked out and foreclosure stops. As much as we want to fix it and have money in our hands, we can't fix it because we can't find out who these mortgage companies are. You get these automated call lists and everything else. So it's critical, and especially looking at this audience, it's critical you look at that organizing side where we got to figure out 211 lines, and those are great. We got to drag people's asses out of their home and get them to take care of their mortgages. Because what we're seeing now are people taking a powder because they can't get a hold of somebody in the mortgage line. They get that foreclosure notice. They call, they get caught in a loop, and they say, you owe $150,000 in your $100,000 home with all these fees, and they just walk away. And you all see it in your homes. You're seeing a lot of vacant houses, where you see people get in a pickle, where you got 2 mortgages, and now you're seeing a lot more rentals in suburbs that you never saw before. You see a lot of people walking out with vouchers who are getting out of the city. So you're seeing such a negative impact on your market that, we got to figure out how we get people to take care of their mortgage problem and get them to call, get them to go meet, and get them to knock on the door and say, we want to fix this. And so that is a big problem, and I don't want to minimize that. The House Bill 294 piece is just a tremendous piece. There's a lot of lobby effort to get it done, and it really gives an opportunity for you to look at how you can recapture and get control of real estate that nobody else wants. And I think the ability to work with the Treasurer's Office, start doing it's basically a border revision sales, the same place you go when you're kind of looking at getting taxes reduced. It gives you an opportunity to look at a property that is vacant and abandoned, that nobody is pursuing, and it's not going through foreclosure action. You can go in and say, it's got a delinquent tax bill, it's vacant and abandoned, I will certify that, and we can start a board of revision sale, and it goes through the same civil rule, notification happens, you're not stepping on anybody's due process, so it's a really good tool. So everybody gets notified, and there have been some houses that have gone through the board of revision sale where somebody knocks and says, hey, wait, that's my house. And, it's vacant, but this and this and this, and the treasurer would be happy to take their money or work a payment plan, and they can save their house. So it does not step on any civil rights. It's a really good tool that way.
So Tony, the process is, house is delinquent in taxes, it's vacant and abandoned, it's creating a blight on your community. You as a local elected official can contact Jim McCox's office, work through Mike Sweeney, then we'll start a whole process that will shift that case from going from the court docket that eventually shifts it into foreclosure, then to sheriff's sale, to the 294 route, which is the board of revision. So you should all be looking in your respective cities and communities for houses that are open and vacant, OBV, or if they're just boarded up and secure but nobody's in there, then do a search. Get the number and do a search, the parcel number. If it's tax delinquent and if it qualifies, get it in that process, and that's a way that then you can rescue control of that structure. But you have to have an end use in mind.
Well, and you can land bank it. And there's 2 pieces to that. If there's a pending foreclosure action, this can't step in front of a pending foreclosure action. So there's a mortgage company or somebody who's got a pending action in there. But if it is a pending foreclosure action, the other piece that the magistrates have agreed to for municipalities, if you certify a vacant property that's got a pending foreclosure action, they can do a fast track foreclosure on that. It's not the 294, it still goes to the judicial process. But Stephen Buka, he has a form that you can fill out and say, this property is a foreclosure and we want to fast track this foreclosure. The House Bill 294 is incredibly useful tool for vacant land. So if you demolished a house or you have some vacant land that's been sitting in limbo and you want to wrestle control and not wait for the years of back taxes to collect up enough to do a foreclosure action, vacant land is the most immediate tool. City of Cleveland completed 1,000 of those the first time around, as the treasurer pointed out, and we have another 1,500 going in for this next round. So it's an incredibly useful tool for that.
I have a comment on